Hi, I'm Joan Manson of Manson Fine Art. Thank you for joining me, taking a peek over my shoulder as I create what is not a tutorial on doing a pan pastel painting of white on black of a squirrel from New York. You might call it the Yankee Squirrel. I draw freehand, and when I do, I draw a little too large, so I had to change the tail to make it fit on the paper. In the end, I think it was a really good choice, and it seemed to fit much better. And here I have my final work. So let's go get started.
Head. I like to work on the highlights first. I'm hoping I get this right. I sort of have an issue. I tend to make things bigger, not out of proportion so much as bigger. So I have difficulty working same size without tracing. Okay. And this is like, I liken this to painting with a paintbrush. Lots of artists do that. You can already see that I'm much too large in proportion here. And if I lose, I'll have to do something with the tail so it's not straight out, which is fine. I'm working sideways with this and rolling it on. And of course, the more you roll this on or spread it on, the darker it gets because it's losing the white of the pastel. Moving always in the direction that the fur is going. Looks like a little rat. Well, it is a rodent. What I'm going to do is take the tail up and curl it, because I'm not going to have enough room to make it straight out the way it appears in the photo. I've seen enough squirrels in my lifetime. I've got no problem with it. And you don't have to live in the country to know about squirrels. I was a city girl. And we had plenty of squirrels on the streets. If there was a tree, there was a squirrel. A little lighter here than I wanted to be, but I'll take care of that with my handy dandy eraser. There we go. Now I have my basic outline of my squirrel. And because I have added that tail, it now looks like a squirrel and not a rat. Okay. It is indeed a lot of fun. Let's just bring that little hind foot down a bit to draw with the pan pastel applicator tool. We come back with highlighted areas here. I am really dangerous. I press, unfortunately, harder on these pastel tools than I should, and I rip apart the rubber on these little guys so easily. It's not an issue with the larger sponges, but the applicator tools are a thin sponge. So you really should just be pressing lightly. The only difference is that you run out of the sponges and you have to replace them more frequently. This is why I frequently use brushes. I use watercolor brushes, cosmetic brushes, pastel brushes frequently in order to apply the soft pastel. But I use them primarily when I work with color. I'm looking at where the highlights are on the darling guy or girl. Okay, now I'm going to come back over here. Work on the tail. Nice thing about working on black paper, besides the fact that I do so love the contrast, is that you can use the black charcoal or the black pastel in order to act as an eraser rather than the erasing tool, because it'll just cover up whatever was there. I'm just dotting them in. No point. There isn't much point in checking the reference photo for this because the light is different, the positioning is different. And let's see. I have to remember to project better. And Again, you may not hear any of this if I decide I have to re-narrate, but I hope not. I really prefer to speak extemporaneously than have to work out and follow along and try to remember what it was I was doing, and thereby creating a script. Okay, let me set that aside. I'm going to come in with my eraser and trim this down here a bit and highlight, darken this area here a bit. That here and there. We have an eye here. The eye. And darken this over here. I'm just doing lines. I'm not doing entire areas. I'm creating hairs. I need to give myself a guideline here for around the eyes. Okay. Oh, I could have done this entire thing just using a white pastel pencil or a charcoal pencil, but I really enjoy using the pan pastel and white. Well, that looks much better. That looks almost like and I'm just using the long eraser the same way that I would use a pencil. Doing dashes of fine hairs. This is just a touch too dark. And I will come back and I will take away this pastel. I see an issue here. I have to move the shoulder back a bit. See how easy that was to do? I just rearranged the whole thing by rubbing it out. Alrighty, that rain is kicking up out there. My sister and the doggies are settling in on the sofa, watching through the storm door, enjoying the view. Okay, let me come back here on the tail, make some fine fur coming through. And then having those lines come from the center as well as the edges. And as I said, from a distance you won't be able to tell that, but when you get closer to it, and this is a General's pastel chalk, which comes with a very good pencil eraser on it. Not all erasers on pencils are very good, but The General's charcoal pencil with the eraser works very nicely, and I do sometimes use it for moving away the white pastel. I don't use erasers very often in my regular pastel work. Occasionally to trim an area if something seems like it's, or to pick up if it seems like I've gone too far over or something. But I only use the eraser on black paper as a rule. Okay, I'm happy with that now. Look at that cute little ear. It started out looking like it was a terrible mistake, but it's lovely now. And the rain is easing up a bit. I do enjoy the rain. I like sleeping in it. I like listening to it. Do not like driving in it. Darken this area a bit with my eraser. There we go. And bring that pencil back in here. And lighten it up right there a bit. With some little teeny tiny fur in there. Now, I'm going to have to bring some grass up here. And I don't know if I want to bring up white grass or black grass or both. So I'm going to use a baton applicator tool, the white pan pastel. I'm applying really with what is the point. This is a baton applicator tool. It's about 5 inches long. It's easy enough for me to handle. Most of the tools I use are all things that I'm comfortable with because of the arthritis. It's not debilitating, it's just that I can't work as long as I would like to. So let me just bring up some grass here. Usually I use an eraser and bring up the black and then highlight it, but I thought this would be an interesting change. And then I'll go back and I'll define it a little bit better. We have a few pieces here, because we're looking for food. And I'm just going to put little dots here for the dirt. If I don't like it, I can erase it. See, do I like that? Yeah, I like that. I'm not doing an entire background. It's a nature study. Otherwise, I would have trees in the background and grass and probably some leaves floating around. I took the photo in autumn. And I'm just bringing these through to define those leaves of grass. and it looks natural. Just want to bring this down a bit. Pop it up a bit. Okay, and is that straight enough for you to see? Okay, and let me just bring this down. If my camera's a little crooked, but I'll adjust my pad. And there's a close-up of a squirrel. This is a squirrel from upstate New York. And I'm trying to see if there's anything here that needs attention, and I do see it. You see this area right here? That shoulder is just extending much too high. So I'm going to bring in this monotombo eraser, and I'm going to bring some of this out just a little at a time. This is a really very forgiving medium. The white pastel or chalk on black paper. Okay, I'm going to bring paper in and a touch of the blending in a bit. Okay, I think that is much improved. Still not perfect. There we go. Now let's see what else I think. I think this bit seems a bit too unnatural. Let me bring up okay, and I'm going to bring in my black pencil. Dashes. Just dotting and dashing, a little Morse code here on the tiny squirrel. Yes, I feel that's much better. I'd like this to be blended in a tiny bit more. What do we think? Touch, touch, touch. Okay. And back and forth. Excellent. I will sign this. John Manson. Took over the A. 7/11/2022. Thank you for joining me. I've really had a good time. If you enjoyed watching this video with demonstration, I would appreciate a thumbs up And if you would like to see more of my work, just click on that subscribe button and that little bell so you get notifications. And if you don't want to get notifications, just don't click the bell. It's pretty straightforward. I thank you so much for joining me, and you have a great, great day.